Welcome to C Fundamentals. In the last session, we discussed about C programming. So I introduced you to the C programming. We discussed it as sample program. Discussed only a sample program. So before we go into serious programming, well, let us discuss the fundamentals related to the C language. So after all, it's a language. After all, it's a language. What do you mean by language? What language consists of? Is a programming language, but what language actually consists of? Suppose you take Telugu, English, what those languages consist of. So if you consider those languages, there will be some characters. So in Telugu, say ma, va, ra, like that, there will be characters. In English also, ABCDs are there, 1, 2, 9 digits are there. So like that, there will be characters. And then some special characters will also be there, like Mavattu, Vavattu, Ravattu, like that in Telugu language. Similarly, here also semicolon, full stop, parentheses, etc. Special characters. So a language consists of those special characters. Now, if you consider those characters, they are very big. When you want to use computer, computer has its own limitations. The amount of storage that is available. Computer has its own limitation, the amount of storage. That is available for us. So depending on it, programming languages have also character set. Programming languages will also have one character set, and all the programs which you are going to write will be made out of those characters. All the programs which you are going to write are going to be made out of those characters only. So what are those characters? We'll study here. So every language is based on some character set. Natural languages like Telugu, English, and programming languages like C, Python, etc. all are based on some character set. But character set may be different. If you consider the character sets that are used by programming languages, there are three types of character sets. ASCII, EBCDIC, and Unicode. ASCII, EBCDIC, and Unicode. ASCII is American Standard Code for Information Interchange. EBCDIC is Extended Binary Coded Decimal Interchange Code. Whereas Unicode is Universal Character Encoding. These are the three character sets. Of course, I think as far as my knowledge goes, no language uses EBCDIC. So all the programming languages initially started using ASCII character set, and the latest versions of the languages and also the latest languages are using the Unicode. The difference is again whatever may be the characters. So we are saying characters. So we are in fact discussing at a level of abstraction. We are saying characters, but computer will not recognize those characters. Again, those characters are to be represented in the binary form, that is ones and zeros. Characters are to be represented in binary form, that is ones and zeros. Should be represented in the form of ones and zeros. So ones and zeros. Okay, how many ones and zeros? So how many ones and zeros are used to represent the characters? So how many characters you want to represent? Based on that one, how many ones and zeros you require? See, if you have 1 bit, you can represent 0 and 1. If you have 1 bit, you can represent 0 and 1. That means two things. Okay, if you have two bits, you can represent 4 combinations: 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, and 1, 1. So like that. So 2 to the power of I, 2 to the power of 5. 2 to the power of 5. It should be represented in the form of 2 to the power of 5. So in the case of ASCII, 7 bits are used. That means 2 to the power of 7 characters. 2 to the power of 7, total of 128 characters. 128 characters, but the values are from 0 to 127 because all zeros, all ones. Total of 128 characters, but characters are from 0 to 127. That means those characters are to be represented using those binary combinations. So extended ASCII is also there now. Extended ASCII is also there. Okay, which uses 8 bits now. But anyhow, the 7-bit version remains the same. 7-bit version remains the same. So let us assume that it is 7 bits and let us go ahead with it. So total of 128 characters can be represented using ASCII 7-bit representation. So modern languages use Unicode because they are trying to represent the characters from the natural languages. So Unicode uses 16 bits or 32 bits. There are again encoding methods, etc. Those things come into picture. But using Unicode, we are able to represent the characters from natural languages like Telugu, Malayalam, etc. Okay. C is based on ASCII character set. These C standards starting from C11 support Unicode through separate libraries. But whatever may be the case, you need not bother about the program. Program remains the same. This is the sample chart. You need not understand everything here. So the only thing is, you can see the characters, how the characters are represented. So B1 to B2, B3, B4 and B5, B6, 7. So all zeros represent null. Okay, all zeros represent null. So if you consider from say the B1, this is B0, B7. If this is B1 and if this is B7, then it is 0, 0, 1. All zeros represent 1. All the zeros represent DLE. The table is there. Not bother about it. Only thing you should know is this 7 bits are used. Let us check 0, 0, 1, 4, 5, 6. What these words? The row column. Okay. So row column combinations. So you can see here the different characters will have different bit sequences. All these bit sequences are to be combined. We'll go into this while discussing the programming. We'll discuss about all this, some of these characters, like what characters want to manipulate. So here you can see within this character set, you can see all the characters. What are the characters? A to Z are there. And then the small letter characters, that means they are differentiated. Uppercase letters and lowercase letters are differentiated. And digits are also there. 0 to digits are also there. And so these characters are also there. Colon is there. Maybe this is semicolon, comma, plus operators are there. Okay. There are different kinds of characters. These are special characters. Discuss them later as and when required. Will not be analyzing this ASCII table. That's not our task. We need not bother about this one. But there will be some special characters. So as and when required, we will be discussing about these special characters. So the ones you should be familiar with these ones. So that means So ASCII is a 7-bit character set. ASCII is a 7-bit character set. So values range from 0 to 127. So here you can see uppercase letters A to Z are represented. Lowercase letters A to Z are represented. Digits 0 to 9 are represented. Special characters are represented. Special characters are represented. Okay, these are the characters that can be used in a C program. So your C program will consist of only these characters that are defined in the ASCII table. Your C program consists of only the characters that are defined in this ASCII table. These are the special characters, plus, minus, star, etc. These are the special characters. So these are natural things. As you go on, you will just remember this thing. So identifiers and keywords. C is a high-level language. To make the programs more readable, programs are written using symbols instead of ones and zeros. So we are not going to write the programs using ones and zeros. We are not going to write the programs using ones and zeros. How do you write the programs? We write the programs using the ASCII characters. And these characters can be combined depending on your requirement. You can combine them. So we are going to write the programs using symbols. So symbols are made out of the characters supported by the C language. But all the characters and combinations of characters cannot be used. There is some restriction. So there are some rules related to what are called as identifiers. There will be identifiers. Identifiers are nothing but the valid names. The names you give to different programming constructs like variables, constants, arrays, functions, etc. There will be number of things. For all those things, you will give one name, one unique name. That is valid identifier. That is a valid name and that is a valid identifier. So identifier is the name given to or the valid name given to variables, constants, arrays, functions, etc. So rules for forming an identifier. What are the rules? So it should start with the letter. Followed by combination of letters and digits. The underscore character is also taken as a letter. Underscore character is also taken as a letter. But it's not recommended. To start with the underscore because underscore the identifiers which start with underscore are used for some special purpose. So not recommended. So it's better you use some convention, your own convention for naming the variables, constants, etc. We'll see what is variable, what is constant, functions, etc. Programming constructs of the C language. So consists of letters and digits, but should start with the letter only, not with the digit. Okay. So use natural names. That's all. Not complicated. Use natural names. So some examples you can see here. A is a valid identifier. P12 is a valid identifier because it starts with letter and it consists of only letters and digits. Suppose if it is 12B, it's not valid because it is not starting with a letter. 12B, 1, starting with 1. So that is not valid one. So some underscore 1, that is also valid because some underscore 1, that is valid because it is starting with the letter, combination of letters and digits, including that underscore character which is treated as letter. So you can see the capital letter Chenna, and also that underscore temp is also valid. Underscore temp is also valid. But one point you have to remember is C differentiates between capital letters and small letters. Capital Chenna is different from small Chenna. That means the one Chenna written in capital letters is different from Chenna written in small letters. Okay, it differentiates between uppercase and lowercase letters. That's why it is called as case sensitive. Case sensitive. Here case is whether it is lowercase or uppercase. Case sensitive. So you can see some of the valid identifiers. And then invalid identifiers. You can see 4AB is invalid because it's starting with digit, not letter. So next is Chenna written in double quotes because you are starting with some other character called as quote. The quote is not permitted in the identifier. Not a valid name. A minus B is not valid. A minus B minus is not permitted. Chenna space Reddy, that is also not permitted because there is space. So your identifier should not consist of spaces. Your identifiers should not consist of spaces. So these rules, it's a simple rule. It's a simple rule. You just try to remember. Just try to remember. Maybe at initial stages it may be little confusing, particularly the space. Chenna space Reddy. So space is not permitted. Space is not permitted. That point you remember. Okay. So an identifier can be arbitrarily long. There is no limit on the size, but it again varies from compiler to compiler. So remember, there will be certain issues which vary from compiler to compiler. There are minor things. We need not bother too much about all those things. But there will be some minor variations. So keywords. Keywords are reserved words. Keywords are reserved words. We can read it like this also. Keywords are 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 reserved words. So keywords are reserved words are those which have predefined meaning. So they have some predefined meaning defined by the language. So they should be used for that intended purpose only. Now, what is the intended purpose? We'll study as we go on studying the C language. Okay. So you cannot use those keywords as identifiers. That's the point. You cannot use keywords as identifiers. So these are the keywords. These are the keywords. Auto, break, case, care, QNST, continue, etc. So all these are keywords, 32 keywords. Again, you need not remember all these keywords, but you should know that you cannot use them. Anyhow, because for the programs, whenever using variables, functions, etc., depending on the function, depending on the purpose for which you are using, you are choosing appropriate names. So usually don't say you don't use these reserved words. Don't use these reserved words. It will not be a natural thing. It may happen rarely. It may happen rarely, but if you have any doubt, if you can refer to the keyword list, or the compiler will automatically generate an error message indicating that you cannot use it. Then in that case, please change the name. That's all. Okay, Anandamayam. Okay, thank you. We'll continue our discussion about C language, fundamentals related to C language in the next coming sessions also. After that, we take up the programming. Before that, we have to consider this programming environments also. After that, we are going to discuss the actual programming.